Hey, what's up you guys? Today's video is going to be about 5 books to read on the spare time. I already had a video about the 5 movies I advised, the business movies, and now I decided to make a video about 5 books. Most of them are available on Audible. Personally, I try to listen to Audible when I'm driving for the long drive, to visit the properties, or when working out in the gym. The first and foremost book I would advise is Rich Dad Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. Although I do not agree with many thoughts he is expressing, specifically ones about the gold and silver. I don't think that gold or silver are the best investments unless you don't have anywhere to put your money in. Then if you don't have anything else, then yes, but overall I would definitely not go with none of them. Other thoughts, especially the thoughts in this book, are amazing because it makes you to look to the things in the world from the different angle, from the angle that you would probably never look again. Personally, I was considering a job as a security matter, I think that pays for your well-being, for your family. However, after reading this book and seeing my friends laying out left and right, I understood that it's not always the case. When you have a job that pays steadily, it's good. You don't have to care about much stuff, especially if you're working 9 to 5, but this is not the case. Most of the time people stay overtime. Most of the time there's a huge risks that you can lose your job. You pretty much depend on other people, but when you're self-employed, you can still lose your business, but you're depending on yourself. Now, this is there are thousands things to talk about in this book. To be short, I definitely recommend to read it or listen to it. This is definitely a mind-changing, mind-shifting piece of literature. The number 2 book on the list is The Tax-Free Wealth by Tom Wheelwright. Now, the irony is that he used to be a CPA of Robert Kiyosaki. I don't know if I told about you this, guys, but I paid a huge amount in taxes, and I'm in real estate business. I found out later that you pretty much could save almost all your federal taxes on your tax returns. Many CPAs just don't know that. If you're purchasing a property and you're a real estate professional, you can pretty much write off the bigger portion of that property. I'm not a CPA, this is not a tax advice. You should just go and read or do your own research. But this book pretty much explains legal ways to avoid huge taxes. I definitely put this as number 2 because if you're in the business, you definitely have to know how the things work. Number 3 book on the list is Blitzscaling by Reid Hoffman. If you don't know, he is a founder of LinkedIn that was sold to Microsoft. This book, it describes a huge business. It's actually a university in its own. I don't agree with much thoughts of Reid Hoffman because, especially his political thoughts, what happens is you can understand how companies like Uber, Airbnb, Amazon came out and how they're functioning. Especially Amazon being a company that had no profit for, say, their history is 30 years. Probably for 20 years, Amazon was not a profitable company. If you want to understand how it works, now currently Amazon is one of the most expensive brands in the world. You have to read this book, guys. I'm telling you, you will learn so much more. And if you plan to have your own startup, if you plan to have your own business, this is definitely one of the top priority books you have to read. Number 4 on the list is, of course, Dale Carnegie's How to Win Friends and Influence People. Now, this is a classic. What I mean by this is it teaches you basics of business, basic of sales. Every business depends on sales. If you can sell, you can do a really good business. You can pretty much do any business. If you cannot sell, and it's a little bit hard, and this book teaches you how to become friends with people. Now, every business, doesn't matter what kind of business, ends up, if it's B2B, if it's B2C, you have to learn how to work with people. You have to learn how to deal with people. Sometimes it's the hardest part, especially if you're not really good with working with people. This book will be very helpful for you. It talks about different stuff, but the main idea is that it describes how to connect with people and how to use those connections in your business. Number 5 book is actually not really about the business. It's called Time Machine by Herbert Wells. It was one of the best best written books I've ever read. There are business related things. There's actually a movie, but the movie was horrible. The book is much more better. Now the writer himself, he was a communist, and the whole idea is that in future the world will separate into two parts, pretty much the working class and non-working class, and working class will evaluate into some kind of wild animals, while non-working class, they will be squishy, some kind of creatures, fun, and they will come out and hunt those guys. But the idea itself and the prediction that the Herbert Wells made were very interesting. I definitely recommend to read this book, especially if you like science fiction, especially if you're curious how the future would look like. Personally, I was always curious about the idea of time travel. If you don't know, guys, we are actually currently traveling in time. Every time we're moving into the future, the thing is we cannot go back in time. If you like a science fiction and curious in the sociology, this book would be the best read. And it's like really short, it's not really long. I would definitely get a hard copy, not to listen to audiobook, because it's going to be just a different feeling. Anyways, guys, happy holidays. If you like this video, do not forget to smash that like button. Have a good one. Bye.